Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you another video. All right, so let's talk about it. So I'm thinking about the Portland Trailblazers right now because they do have the third pick in the draft, and I'm reading up on various mock drafts that are out there. And one thing that I am understanding at this point is that Brandon Miller is 6'9". He's tall, so what that ends up doing in regards to my mind's eye with this mock draft is probably penciling him in at 2 with Charlotte, because I initially thought Brandon Miller was a smaller guard, maybe 6'4", 6'5", something like that. That's not him. He's a small forward comfortably. So with that being said, it probably makes a lot more sense for them to try to pair him up with a LaMelo Ball and go forward that way. Plus, they still have other players on contract at the guard spots. So I think it'd probably be easier for them to slip in a small forward. And since Miller is so dang good, it shouldn't be too difficult to talk themselves into doing that. Rather than bringing another point guard to the situation, asking Scoot to play shooting guard, which is probably fine, but you probably do better not overloading yourself with guards since you've always had that issue anyway in Charlotte. So I think Brandon Miller is probably going to be the pick there. And then I look over at the Portland Trailblazers. I say, because Brandon Miller's probably not going to be in Portland, they're likely going to get Scoot. And at that point, it's been said that they probably want to trade the pick just in general to bring themselves a star. Because I see Shaedon Sharpe on the team, I look over and I see Anthony Simons. I think it makes a lot more sense to move Dame and draft Scoot and go forward with Scoot, Simons, Shaedon, and everything else that you have. That is a better look to me as a person looking from the outside in, because Dame, super duper young, not young, but super duper talented superstar player, but his contract eats up so much of your cap that because of his presence, you have so fewer options than probably would be best for you as a franchise, with the rest of the team being as it is. Now, when you're overly dedicated to a particular star, it can be to your detriment, or it can be to your benefit. I don't know what's what. I can tell you I don't know. You can do this one way and it go the wrong way. You can do it the right way and it can still end up the wrong way. There's a lot of different things that can happen when you're trying to build your basketball team, but I'm not of the mindset that moving on from Scoot Henderson on draft night so that I can continue to build around Dame Lillard is something that I would do if I were running my franchise. I'm not doing that. Now, I might put them together, but then I'm going to have issues with Simons. You know what I mean? I just signed Simons. I'm happy with Simons, so it's not like I necessarily want to do that. Now, maybe it makes more sense for me to trade Simons, right? If I don't want to get rid of Dame and I don't want to get rid of Scoot, you can always create more space. Those players are covetable, no matter who they are. Dame isn't going to be hard to move because there's going to be somebody out there who's more than happy to bring in Dame Lillard's contract. His contract is a poison pill, but that ain't something that you can that owners aren't going to see it that way until they get it there, and then they realize that it's a poison pill. So that's just kind of one of those things where it's like, that's not how the market's going to see him at all. And so for me, it's like, look, I'm of the mindset that maybe I'm not looking at this the right way. I always harken back to people who understand the sport of basketball better than I do. Hey, there's a lot of different things. It's a fluid sport. And when you have a great player who can hit clutch baskets like Dame Lillard, you don't want to start picking apart his potential weaknesses and overthinking the desire to have him on your team. You want him on your team. But if it's hard to build a champion around him because of how much he's going to be eating in regards to the cap, then that brings me back to the point of what is probably best for me as a franchise. Scoot Henderson on a rookie contract or Dame Lillard at max price going forward, aging. Maybe because I'm Portland and my fan base loves Dame and we're wrapped up in him emotionally, I'm just going to ride out and we'll do it Kobe Bryant style. You know what I'm saying? Win or lose, we're in this together. I can't tell Portland how to feel about their circumstances or whatever. Like, for me, it's different. I'm a Laker fan, so it's just a different world over here, as to where if Dame played 20 years here and didn't deliver a championship, we would view that a certain way. He wouldn't be as welcome here. It wouldn't be the love affair because we have so much. You know what I mean? It's a different thing. But if I put myself in Portland's shoes and I try to imagine myself as an 18-year-old Portland fan who's only known a world where Dame was my player, and now you're talking about bringing in Scoot, it depends on how I view the upside of Scoot will determine whether or not I would even want to even think about that. Probably not. But then again, when you consider bringing in new talent, it's like, this is my new Dame. Now I'm going to be in love with that player because we draft him here, and now he's our guy just like Dame was, just like Brandon Roy was. Just, so it's like, I turn on this camera right now to ask the Portland Trailblazers, are they damn sure they're ready to trade that pick if it turns into Scoot Henderson? Now, if it's Brandon Miller, I actually don't know that they see it the same way because they're bringing in a small forward. He probably fits in what they're doing a bit more. I like Nasir Little a lot. I like what they already have at Grant a lot, but it ain't going to be hard to slip Brandon Miller into that starting lineup and feel fantastic about Portland Trailblazers. Now, that doesn't mean they won't still trade it. If for some reason Scoot goes to Charlotte, I think the plan is still to trade it. I think that's the overall thought, that they're going to trade it either way to get a star to Portland. But I think that Brandon Miller, if he falls there, it wouldn't be the worst idea to just keep him and let him just slide right into the mix. He's not replacing anybody. He's not moving anybody out the way. It's not going to be funny for your lineup at all. So I just think Brandon Miller would be great in Portland. However, if Scoot does in fact fall to Portland, which I think he will, I'm here telling the Portland Trailblazers to think long and hard about not trading that player. Now, if you want to trade the pick before you draft it, as a hypothetical, it might hold more value given the fact that it won't yet be Scoot Henderson. It'll be Scoot Henderson or whatever choice someone might want. Amen Thompson or something like that. Maybe somebody's in love with Amen Thompson and wants to trade with Portland to get Amen. It could be. It's just like when the Lakers moved the Atlanta, the pick to Atlanta, the fourth pick to Atlanta in the AD trade. They decided not to take a point guard in that situation. Decided to go with Hunter. I don't know why my mind went blank, but that super duper great point guard in Cleveland, Garland. They didn't take him. I would have taken him. I think the consensus would have taken him. So you see what I'm saying? Like, you can still see somebody trading up and then taking somebody that's not in the consensus, as to which, Miller and Scoot would likely fall just by sheer default. But outside of that, I don't see him falling outside of 3. And I think who would want to trade for that pick probably would want Scoot or Miller. And either way, that's just a bunch of nothing. The point is, I don't think Portland should trade Scoot, bro. I don't think anybody should trade Scoot Henderson. I don't think a single soul. I don't care if you got a point guard or not. I'm not moving him. Just like I ain't moving Victor, I'm not moving Scoot. Those are two players that wherever they drafted, they should stay there. They should stay there. And the reason why I say that about Scoot is because he's 6'2", 195 pounds of pure muscle, man. He shouldn't even be on a basketball floor. That's a running back. That is a freak of nature. He is not normal. He's like Westbrook. You know what I mean? And when you get a player like that, and you're looking at all this stuff that other players can do around them, you can't overthink the fact that that's somebody that you can't throw a guy in the gym and tell him to go become that. He could sit in the gym for 24 hours a day. He ain't gonna look like that at that age. It's not gonna happen. He's just different genetically. And so when you got players like that coming in, you gotta respect what they can do potentially for you, especially if they got the skills that Scoot has on both sides of the floor. He's a tank, man. Even though he's undersized, he's still got that Westbrook ability to where you may be able to put him on a guy twice his size, and he may be able to be a mouse in the house in that type of situation. So I ain't. Nah. I'm moving Dame and that colossal contract, and I'm bringing Scoot and that rookie contract to me, and I'm pairing him up with Shaedon Sharpe, and we're going to be flying all over the Western Conference in this rebuild. That's how that would go if I'm Portland, and the new generation is going to love that. Portland is going to love Dame. He's still going to retire his number. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's not going to be Dame. He's still going to be Portland's own, but he's going to be playing for the Celtics or something, because I don't want no parts of that contract. It's a contract only a mother could love. That's what that Dame contract is to me. So that's how I feel, man. I respect Dame. If he were on a more favorable contract, obviously I'd vault him at the top. He's one of the best point guards in the world. Ain't no question about it. But that contract is everything when I'm talking about what else you got. What other teammates do you have? That's the type of conversation we start having when we start looking at contracts like that. And look, I've made peace with what Dame's decision was. He already let the world know why he did what he did. He has children. His dreams is to make sure he leaves as much NBA money for his kids as possible. So I made peace with that. When I talked about that, I made peace with that the same day. Like, yo, that man has his reasons, and they're good ones. Cool. But at the same time, if I'm owner, if I'm basketball fan, if I'm all that, I can't. That's his generational wealth. They ain't got nothing to do with what I'm trying to do with my team and how we're going to get to a championship. You understand what I'm saying? Respect, but that's the conversation at hand. I got to get the cap space necessary to make sure my team can win. And if I'm Portland, that's what's been in the way for the last 12 damn years. Is the fact that you've had various different situations, including unfortunate injury situations. Greg Oden and Brandon Roy. That stuff tanked their team, man. That stuff tanked their team. So what I'm saying is, with a team with the history that you have, are you sure you want to go forward in an emotional decision that's going to keep you at a disadvantage in regards to your building process? Because you will be a middle-of-the-pack team if you continue to build around Dame and you trade Scoot Henderson on draft night for some dude that's going to be a contract that's also just as expensive as Dame's, because that's exactly what it sounds like you're doing. You're going to target somebody like James Harden or somebody like that, and that is the opposite of what's going to help you win your championship. Portland, I'm telling you right now, that's the opposite. What helps you win a championship is getting as much inexpensive and productive pieces as possible. Hence, Scoot Henderson on a rookie contract. It don't get much better than that. Except for Wembanyama on a rookie contract. But you see what I'm saying? Also, the third pick can be used on other players. It's your pick to use. If you want to go outside of the consensus, maybe that makes sense for you. How about Amen Thompson? Are you sure you're not in love with any of those prospects in that area? And you just have to get a star for Dame. Because that star for Dame thing, that's a poison pill, man. If you get the wrong star, it's going to be the wrong situation. Because Dame ain't no defensive player. And whoever the hell you're talking about targeting probably ain't going to be no defensive player either. Karl Anthony Towns. I'm looking at James Harden. I already know the names. Because I know who's going to be available. They ain't playing no defense. Kyrie Irving. You know what I'm saying? That star for Dame thing, it look a whole lot like what Phoenix just did. Look a whole lot what Brooklyn did. Looks a whole lot like what Dallas did, and it all looks like garbage to me. Portland, it looks like trash. It looked like what the Clippers did. You see where you're going with this? You got to stop and look around and see what everybody else is doing. You got to see where the tide is flowing. How hard it is to get picks. Look at what just happened to Detroit. Look what just happened to Detroit. They tanked their whole season. And you got a better pick than them. And how you going to play that? By doing something butt backwards in regards to your cap? Because you want to do the Dame thing? It's empty, bro. It's empty. I'm telling you it's empty. Dame know that crap is empty. It's empty. Portland, hear me good, y'all. There's a million ways to build a champion. What you do not do is take an overinflated contract and slap it next to another overinflated contract and let young talent go. Young lottery prospects go. That is the opposite of what you do when you're trying to win in today's league. I don't know why I'm trying to help y'all. I grew up hating y'all with everything I had. Y'all was one of the biggest ops. Damon Stoudemire, Scottie Pippen, all them dudes that played for that Portland team. Arvydas Sabonis, Rasheed Wallace, all of them. I grew up very much hating them very much. You understand what I'm saying? So it's no affinity here, but I just know when a team is about to make a massive franchise mistake. You already passed on Kevin Durant. Okay, Portland? You passed on Michael Jordan. You understand what I'm saying to you? And there's many others that you done passed on as well. Do not do this to Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller. Don't do this to you. Now, I'm not saying doing it to them, because you're doing them a favor if you do something stupid and send them somewhere better. But if you do this to yourself because you want to keep on this train with Dame, you are going to live to regret that there. Okay, I'm just telling you the truth. You're gonna live to regret that there. So that's what needs to be said. I understand that they're hell bent on doing things a certain way and they're devoted to Dame, but it is an NBA environmental in regards to the cap and how things work. Mistake. It's a mistake. That man Dame is making $60 million a year. That is already a contract that should not have any contracts brought to it. That contract should be alone, surrounded by the most inexpensive stuff it can possibly have next to it. Okay? That is real, man. Because anything else is making sure your team is just not deep enough. You ain't never going to have deep enough talent on your bench to actually compete. You're not. You're gonna be pulling a Phoenix. You're gonna be pulling a Denver. You're gonna be all that when the playoffs come around. If you build that way, because you ain't gonna want to use none of them dudes on the back of that bench. You're only gonna be 8 deep. I'm telling you, we see it all the time, man. So I'm trying to help Portland. You do not want to do what Minnesota did. You don't want to do that. And I'm not saying you're gonna make a trade that bad, because nobody's gonna make a trade that bad. But you want to make sure that everything represented on your books makes sense, man. You want to make sure everything that you have is enough so that you can be deep as humanly possible. If you don't, you're going to be food for the rest of the Western Conference who didn't make that mistake. Dame is aging. He's aging on a very bad contract. And everybody in Portland is going to have to be honest about that. They're going to have to be honest about that, because if they can't absorb that truth, they're going to make some bad moves that's going to put them in some bad holes for the sake of trying to win a championship with Dame. And I'm telling you, Dame is an amazing shot maker, but he's going to need a lot of stuff, defensively, playmakers, all types of stuff to make him a champion. So if you're cool with being the middle of the pack Portland team, that's fine with me too. But I'm telling you, from a Laker championship building perspective, as a guy who only accepts championships, I know when you're headed down a path that ain't got no championship attached to it. And trading Scoot Henderson on draft night for somebody's contract so that you can bring Dame, an old guy that's old like him, so that y'all can chase a ring, is going to leave you not good enough 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10. Maybe you make the right trade and get the right piece, and then everything falls into place and y'all hoisting the trophy, or but the odds of that happening are so damn slim when you construct your team in a way like it looks like you're trying to do right here. You trade Scoot for Paul George or something like that. I'm telling you. So that's all I wanted to say. Somebody had to just have enough love in their heart to say something to somebody before they make a massive mistake. Trading the 3rd overall pick is likely a mistake for the Portland Trailblazers if they're doing it in the name of bringing Dame, a superstar, with the hopes of winning the West. Because I'm telling you, that's the opposite of what's going to help you with your asset class. Keeping Scoot on a rookie contract is golden. It's golden. That's pretty much what I have to say. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching.